decided to follow Jesus.
All right. I wanted to start out with 2 Corinthians 12:9. Each time he said, "My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weakness, so that the power of Christ can work through me." And I wanted to focus in on the power of Christ, because it was about 15 years ago that I was first introduced to South Africa through the movie, The Power of One. Beautiful songs, had the great story of struggles, imprisonment, fighting, boxing, love, passion, had everything. Power of One. It is a redemption plot, one that really mirrors our Christian walk. I dreamt for 14 years of South Africa, knowing that I would probably never go. The opportunity arose. And on the flight, I had to, from Atlanta to Johannesburg, was a 16-hour trip. And I had to sit and think, why am I going? And what can my message be that's any different than the missionaries 100 years ago that sailed over there? And I thought about the advice that I received before I went, which was, go and teach the gospel of Christ. And if you have to, as a last resort, use words. That was powerful. When I landed in a brand new country that for years had only been something I had studied in geography in the 7th grade, I was there. There was a lot of Hindu people there, and you could smell the spices that was growing, a smell that I had never smelled before. I was like a little kid, just going through, smiling, and absorbing it all. I went there to be the photographer and the videographer for the bishop that I was under at that time. But more importantly, I took the time in my free time to get to know the people in the community. I met a Zulu tribal member. I probably did something I shouldn't have done. I introduced him to bluegrass music. So we don't know how I impacted their musical traditions. But I learned to listen. I wasn't there to teach. I was there to serve. And I did serve. But what really struck me with these people, they reminded me of the early church. They prayed twice a week for hours. And I knelt in this small church in Ishapingo, around Durban, which is the southwest part of South Africa. And these people, they did pray for 2 to 3 hours. But what got me was they prayed for America. They prayed for us. They prayed for every one of us to learn what the true meaning of Jesus' words were. And when I left, I can tell you, I left my heart in South Africa. When I came back, I faced unemployment. I tried my best to find a job, and I couldn't. And I had to move back to Oklahoma in the middle of summer when it was hot. I came here, and for a month, I sent out at least 20 or 30 resumes a day, and only one responded. That was the Methodist church, looking for an administrative assistant. And I was just like, really? Really? So I went, I interviewed, and they hired me. And through that year, the Holy Spirit used that to instill in me what I call the Wesleyan fire. And I changed denominations, became Methodist, because I believed in it. I believed in it because their mission work was not about preaching the word of Christ from a pulpit, but being the arms and the legs and the hearts and the minds for the people. They were not looking to fill pews and numbers. They wanted to minister through their work so that the gospel could continue there. And I wanted to be a part of it. And lo and behold, the director of the Volunteers in Mission for the Methodist conference, I have to kind of use that, I wanted to say, district, but the interesting thing was when our director of VIM, Jeremy Bassett, came here and speak, he talked of going back to South Africa. And I knew that God had opened doors for me to go again. That through the grace of God, through my past, through all my troubles, and everything, God still loved me enough to send me back to be a missionary. And more important, I get to be the missionary from Leland, Clegg in South Africa this time. And the gospel is strong there. I want to go, not so that I can minister. I want to go to serve so that people will have a place to worship and they will hear what the true meaning of God's word is. And I'm thankful that this community has given me that opportunity. Thank you.
I have decided to follow Jesus.